Hello and welcome to A Course in Miracles in Practice. We're so pleased you're here to delve into the practical application of the Course. Each day, we consider a new lesson from the workbook with the intention of bringing its wisdom into our lives in tangible ways. We're going to be exploring Lesson 126 from A Course in Miracles today. Let's start, as always, just by listening to the lesson itself. I'll read it through without stopping. All that I give is given to myself. Today's idea, completely alien to the ego and the thinking of the world, is crucial to the thought reversal which this course would bring about. If you believe this statement, there would be no problem in complete forgiveness, certainty of goal, and sure direction. You would understand the means by which salvation comes to you and would not hesitate to use it now. Let us consider what you do believe in place of this idea. It seems to you that other people are apart from you and able to behave in ways which have no bearing on your thoughts, nor yours on theirs. Therefore, your attitudes have no effect on them, and their appeals for help are not in any way related to your own. You further think that they can sin without affecting your perception of yourself, while you can judge their sins and yet remain apart from condemnation and at peace. When you forgive a sin, there is no gain to you directly. You give charity to one unworthy, merely to point out that you are better, on a higher plane than he whom you forgive. He has not earned your charitable tolerance, which you bestow on one unworthy of the gift because his sins have lowered him beneath a true equality with you. He has no claim on your forgiveness. It holds out a gift to him, but hardly to yourself. Thus is forgiveness basically unsound, a charitable whim, benevolent yet undeserved, a gift bestowed at times, at other times withheld. Unmerited withholding it is just, nor is it fair that you should suffer when it is withheld. The sin which you forgive is not your own, someone apart from you committed it. And if you then are gracious unto him by giving him what he does not deserve, the gift is no more yours than was his sin. If this be true, forgiveness has no grounds on which to rest dependably and sure. It is an eccentricity in which you sometimes choose to give indulgently an undeserved reprieve. Yet it remains your right to let the sinner not escape the justified repayment for his sins. Think you the Lord of heaven would allow the world's salvation to depend on this? Would not his care for you be small indeed if your salvation rested on a whim? You do not understand forgiveness. As you see it, it is but a check upon overt attack without requiring correction in your mind. It cannot give you peace as you perceive it. It is not a means for your release from what you see in someone other than yourself. It has no power to restore your unity with him to your awareness. It is not what God intended it to be for you. Not having given him the gift he asks of you, you cannot recognize his gifts and think he has not given them to you. Yet would he ask you for a gift unless it was for you? Could he be satisfied with empty gestures and evaluate such petty gifts as worthy of his son? Salvation is a better gift than this, and true forgiveness, as the means by which it is attained, must heal the mind that gives. Forgiving is receiving. What remains as unreceived has not been given, but what has been given must have been received.
I think we should probably start wrapping
Today,
up
try
here.
to understand the
feels
truth
like the
that
right
giver and
time.
receiver are the same.
But first, a big thank
You will
you
need
for
help
being
to make
with
this
us.
meaningful,
Yes, thank
because
you
it
all
is so
so much. We
alien to the thoughts to
genuinely
which you are
appreciate you
accustomed.
listening.
We do.
But the help
And
you
hey,
need
if anything
is there.
sparks something for
Give
you,
him your faith
drop us a
today
line.
and
Please
ask
do.
him that
The
he share
email
your
is
practicing in truth today.
ACIM.
And if you only catch a tiny glimpse of the
Got it.
release which lies in the idea we practice for today, this is a day of glory for the world. Give 15 minutes twice today to the attempt to understand today's idea. It is the thought by which forgiveness takes its proper place in your priorities. It is the thought that will release your mind from every bar to what forgiveness means and let you realize its worth to you. In silence, close your eyes upon the world which does not understand forgiveness and seek sanctuary in the quiet place where thoughts are changed and false ideas laid by. Repeat today's idea and ask for help in understanding what it really means. Be willing to be taught. Be glad to hear the voice of truth and healing speak to you, and you will understand the words he speaks and recognize he speaks your words to you. As often as you can, remind yourself you have a goal today, an aim which makes this day of special value to yourself and all your brothers. Do not let your mind forget this goal for long, but tell yourself, all that I give is given to myself. Dad, the help I need to learn that this is true is with me now, and I will trust in him. Then spend a quiet moment opening your mind to his correction and his love, and what you hear of him you will believe, for what he gives will be received by you.
All that I give is given to myself. It really challenges pretty much everything the world teaches us about giving.
It feels completely backwards sometimes, this idea that giving and receiving aren't separate acts, but somehow intertwined.
Exactly. Inherently linked. It's not like you give something away and then maybe, possibly, you get something back later. The Course is saying the act of giving is the receiving.
Which, when you apply it to forgiveness, Wow, that changes things dramatically. It stops being this charitable thing you do for someone else, almost like you're being superior, you know?
Right. The lesson calls that view basically unsound, like you're bestowing favor on someone unworthy.
Yeah. Instead, forgiveness becomes about healing yourself, recognizing that shared reality.
Releasing the burden you're carrying. Think about maybe a family member who keeps doing something that disappoints you.
Okay.
Holding on to that anger, that resentment. Who does it really harm most?
Yourself, ultimately. It just eats away at your peace.
Exactly. So forgiving in this context isn't necessarily saying what they did was okay.
Yeah.
It's choosing your own inner healing, your freedom from that negativity. That's the gift you give yourself.
That makes sense. And it ties into how this whole idea flips the ego's thinking upside down.
Oh, completely. The ego thrives on me versus you, us versus them. It sees giving as loss.
Right. Like, take that scenario of a colleague who seems distant or difficult.
Yeah.
The ego reaction might be to, avoid them, keep your distance too, build that wall higher.
Protect yourself.
But applying this lesson, maybe you extend some understanding or offer help, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable.
And the point is, that act doesn't just potentially help them, it dissolves something within you.
Breaks down that sense of separation you're feeling. It fosters connection, even if just internally at first.
You're giving connection, and so you receive the feeling of connection. You experience the unity the ego tries to deny.
It's a very different way of looking at interactions. Less transactional.
And it leads into this idea of divine reciprocity.
Divine reciprocity. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, the Course frames giving, true giving, as aligning with God's will, with the natural flow of love. And because that's the fundamental nature of reality, according to the Course, when you align with it by giving, you automatically receive.
So it's not like you give to God and God gives back. It's more like by giving, you participate in the divine flow, which is receiving.
That's a good way to put it. Think about, say, donating to a children's charity you really care about.
Right.
On the surface, money or resources flow one way, but what do you often feel?
Well, hopefully a sense of joy, connection, maybe purpose.
Exactly. That joy, that connection, that's the immediate receiving that happens within the act of giving. It demonstrates that loving flow. It's not a reward for giving. It is the giving, experienced from another angle.
The giving and receiving are simultaneous facets of the same action.
Yes. And that feeling isn't just, a nice side effect. The Course suggests it's pointing to that fundamental truth of interconnectedness.
So how do we actually internalize this? Because it's one thing to talk about it, but it's so different from our usual habits of thought.
That's where the practical application comes in. The lesson stresses quiet reflection, asking for help and understanding.
The 15-minute practice period.
Right. And the shorter reminders throughout the day. It's not just intellectual understanding. It's about letting it sink in, feeling its truth.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, say, just totally stressed out.
Yeah.
The suggestion is to actually stop, close your eyes, and repeat the idea. All that I give is given to myself, and ask for help to get it.
Yes. To be willing to be taught, as the lesson says, to open your mind to a different perspective on the situation. Regular practice helps it move from like a concept in your head to something you actually start to experience.
So those moments of reflection aren't just navel-gazing, they're actively retraining the mind.
As you internalize that giving and receiving are the same, you naturally start to interact differently. Less fear, less defense, more openness. And that changes everything.
It really does seem like a cornerstone idea for the whole thought system.
So thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks for joining the conversation. Maybe something to ponder today is just notice your interactions. When you give something maybe time, attention, even just a kind thought, see if you can spot how that giving might actually be reflecting back to you, perhaps in ways you don't usually notice.